Yes, yes. What's going on, good people? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is where you're watching or listening to this. I'm MC Till with everybody's hip hop label. Super excited about tonight's chat. I'm always super excited, but tonight I'm doubly excited because we have two guests, not one. So that's super cool. This is the Boom Bap chat number 77. Before I introduce our guest, of course, you know the drill. If you're in Cincinnati, come see us, please. And go over to everybody's records. They have a dope selection of vinyl, tapes, books. Speaking of books, I want to say thank you to all the people that have been pre-ordering the Boom Bap Review Volume 3. That's our new book. Profound and Iomas are writing in that book this year. So they're new writers for the books. We're super excited about that. And you can pre-order it and you can save some money. And this just came out. Iomas has a new album. And if you order the book, you get the album for free. So I mean that's like 2-in-1 right there. So make sure you check that out at boombapreview.com. In the room tonight, as always, we have Profound. Profound, how are you?
I'm good, brother Till. How you be? What's good, Io?
What up, though?
What up? What up? And there you go. And we have Io Moss. Io Moss, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing, brother Till and brother Profound?
You know it. We ready tonight.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So the two other guests in the room tonight, they're not just artists. They do so much more. And that's one of the reasons we're so excited to have them tonight to get into, what they do with the culture, not just, making beats and rhymes and all that, but what they do behind the scenes to promote the culture in general. So we're going to dig into that and more. It's Amina and Cool Out Chris as Urbanized Music.
Thank you guys. Yes, thank you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it's like a reunion.
It
so
is.
I love this. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I know Profound and Iomas know you, the two of you, very well. I don't yet, but I'm excited for this time together to get to know you a little bit. We'd like to give flowers, give roses to those that we have on. So I'm gonna throw it over to Profound to do that.
Y'all didn't know I was gonna do this, but man, Cool Out and Amina, y'all really not only to hip hop in the community, and I'm gonna try to do this without being emotional about it, because y'all mean that much to me. Y'all really mean that much to me. And we talk about giving people their flowers while they're alive and while they can smell them. And I just want to tell both of y'all from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything that y'all have done for the community and also for everything that y'all have done for me. Y'all have always had y'all door open for me. Y'all have never turned me away. And Cool Out, you in particular, I just recall the first time we started working together when I didn't have the money for a beat, and you liked what you saw on the stage at the Elbow Room, and then we just so happened to connect. And then through our connections with Tony Baines and Dirty MF and all of that, we just been tied at the hip ever since. And I don't know if I've ever told you this, but you're you are definitely in the class of a Doug Infinite, my other mentors, No ID, Master Ace, Jam, and Rich. And Walter as well. Like I consider you a mentor to me like that. And Sister Amina, you as well. Like y'all hold it down together. And we just want to say thank you for doing what y'all do. Please keep doing what y'all do. And I just wanted to hand y'all roses and tell y'all I love y'all.
Thank you,
Thank
brother.
you.
Love you too.
I love you too. That's so.
Man, thank you.
It's so touching, and like I feel it emotionally because it's like family, right? Like we meet through hip hop, but you meet people and you connect with people who you realize will be part of your journey for life. And so I kind of feel like that way, like with both of you. Like if we were someplace far or near and I saw you, I'd be like, oh my God, it's my family. Like those are my people.
All day.
Like not just we from Chicago or like we
right.
Chicago hip hop, but like my family. So I thank you for the recognition and the acknowledgement. And of course, we would be nowhere without our community. So thank you.
Right. That's right.
No.
And bro, you're my brother. You're one of the most talented individuals that I know, and I don't even just say MC. Your knowledge, you know what I'm saying, when you reach out to other people. And bro, I am so my nieces and nephews of them growing up and me watching Elijah sling that ball. I swear to God, bro, I'm living through you guys' Instagram to see the kids and everything else. And I you know what I'm saying, the videos that you drop, all this stuff, brother. Like y'all, since day one, y'all been real brothers, and nothing has changed about that. So y'all always family to me, man, and I love you.
No doubt. Love y'all too. Love y'all too, man.
So,
Dope.
respect.
We're going to get into a conversation about hip hop community. Before that, though, you know, it's the Boom Bap chat. So I'm always curious. All of us are curious about that definition. We kind of have a working definition, but I'm curious in what you got. What do you think? Like when you hear the term Boom Bap, what comes to mind? What do you think that is to you?
Wow.
I don't think anyone has ever asked me that question. And so as I'm hearing it, I'm like, man, what do I think? Like, I think authentic, I think underground, I think like tradition. I think of the rhythm and like a break.
Yeah.
And so I just associate that term with like authentic practitioners.
Practitioners.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Wow.
It's dope.
She was deep. I don't know if I'm gonna go that deep. With me being a producer, you know, from the literal term of boom bap, it's boom bap. You know what I mean? It's that kick, it's that snare.
Yeah.
Boom bap. But I consider myself to be a boom bap producer, but of course I do all different styles of music. But the boom bap to me is just the heart of everything, the rhythm. You know, it's the essence, you know what I mean? And as we go through the process of trying to teach and all those things, boom bap is that essence. So as music, as culture evolves, boom bap is a part of that process, and you can't go anywhere without having that.
Yeah.
That's dope. I thought you know what? I was thinking about that question too, and I classify it as it's the pulse of hip hop.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it wasn't who was the first one to really use the term KRS? Really? I mean, but at the same time, when you think about it, it is the pulse of hip hop. You know, and everything else derives from that pulse.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like a heartbeat.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right?
Boom bap. Boom bap.
Yeah.
Boom bap.
Yeah. Okay, can I borrow that? Can I use that?
Of course. You know how we do. Chris, I need a beat. You know. Mina, I need 16. Mina, you know how we get down.
That's how we do, right?
Well, let's go to the lyrical tip here. Profound. You have any thoughts on lyrics?
This is a conversation I've had many a day, Chris, where I didn't sat with you, come up to Payless and kicked it with you, and we didn't talked about life and whose album was what. My question really is, do the lyrics still matter to you today?
Ooh, that's a heavy one. I'm going to answer that with a yes and a no. So, short answer, yes, because I still feel like in the society that we live in, all type of content, all type of narratives matter, but it only matters to the person who's delivering the message, right? They have a responsibility, only if they want to take that responsibility. I'm going to say no as my other answer, only because the music itself and the culture itself evolves, right? So, you know, diggity das effects, mumble rap, you know, so we have to kind of pick our battles, right? Our parents didn't like the stuff that we were listening to. They didn't like the content. They didn't, and maybe it wasn't even liking, maybe it's more so an understanding of, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's more so just it's a generational thing, and you gotta kind of pass the torch. So I don't know if that helps you out, but a yes and a no for it. So my deep down is yes. I want to hear some lyrics. I want to hear good content. Do I turn a blind eye to what I'm hearing because it doesn't give me that? No.
I think if I could add on to that, I agree. I think that lyrics do matter. But I don't think that a lot of people who consider themselves, I'll even say rappers, not even MCs, but people who consider themselves rappers, don't know that the lyrics are supposed to matter. So
That's true.
sometimes they just do it because they're words that they know and they're accessible and they got a beat. And they don't understand how valuable they really are and how much they should matter. So they should always matter. And even if they're lyrics that we don't like, we don't have to like them. They don't have to be of your taste. But they're generally always some narrative and some story. And so it does matter. But I think to what degree a lot of MCs, to what Chris was saying, like the power and the weight of being an MC, I don't think all rappers don't get it. And so sometimes the lyrics do not matter to them.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I want to bring in Marcus here, who's joining us on Facebook. He said this generation as a whole, when it comes to lyrics, is lacking. You're kind of getting to that, I mean, a little bit. Would you all agree with that statement or push back?
Yeah, I think to a great degree it is.
Yeah.
But a lot is lacking, right? Like our communication skills are lacking. Our educational system has completely failed.
Absolutely.
So what our teachers demanded of us aren't necessarily being demanded in the same way. And so many other reasons that separate, the message from the messenger. So, how high is our expectation and what are we trying to get? And, kind of complete sidebar, I teach a hip hop class. And today we were talking about drill. And, we started the conversation and we're going to continue the conversation. But, I was explaining to them how folks of my generation, years ago, I had the same mentality of, you kids are killing the game. Like you're killing the craft. Like, what are you doing? But the more I interacted with young people and people who were speaking that dialect of hip hop, I understood that it had a whole different meaning and context that I might not even get.
Yeah.
So it's so much deeper than what I may perceive as what I like or don't like, or, the fact that some of these rappers that we looked at, parents weren't there. School was completely out of the question. So what kind of content are they going to produce? If you on the block all day, you're going to produce block content. You're not going to produce intellectual, I read a book and here's some stuff I want to share, or even like a well thought out, conceptualized anything.
True.
So, so sometimes we put a lot of weight in the lyrics, but they reflect what's going on. And so if they're empty, it might mean that there's some emptiness underneath it that is reflected.
It's bigger than hip hop.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Do you think go ahead, Ayo.
No, I was just go say I was just in a conversation today. I was doing like a guest lecture and we was talking about the generations, like the old versus the new generation, and like the conversation that needs to take place between the old and the new, because I think both sides are kind of basically what we were saying is like both sides are kind of at fault, where the young generation don't want to take leadership or like mentorship from the old generation, and the old generation is kind of like what Amina was saying, like we just ride them off, like, oh, that's just mumble rap, or that's just the rap that don't make sense. And we don't take the time to like what Amina did, is like actually understand and kind of learn from them too. You know what I mean? So I think it's failure on both sides. I just want to know what are y'all thoughts on that? Like, how can we increase those opportunities to have conversations like with the old generation with the new generation?
Wow. I'd say, we have to stop and listen to each other. That's the first thing. I mean, and to your point, I've been in many circles and rooms where, you have different generations of hip hoppers and different cultures and everything else. And you can see that one is like, well, yo, you got it easy. Y'all can push buttons. Y'all can do this. We used to have crates. We used to have, and it's like, for the younger generation, they're like, wow, that's deep. You had to carry actual records to go DJ. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So just in that conversation, you were dropping jewels. They don't know this. They might not know that. You know what I mean? And then vice versa. The narrative that they are giving us or their perspective or the reason why they might say, yo, we listen to this or we're about this particular life is because that's their narrative. That's what they actually are living. You know what I mean? They, you know, it's just like Ebonics, right? Like it's like Big L's Ebonics. There's a whole new slang now that I don't understand, right?
Yeah.
But I have to be in tune because if I'm out on if I'm out on the block or somebody say, "Yo, they pulling up," and I don't know what that means. So it's also one of those things where we can't be so distant from what it is that they're the crystal ball that they're looking through. To say, "Oh man, forget what y'all talking about. Y'all don't know nothing about this. Y'all don't know that." And then there's also this whole economic disparity between, you know, old schoolers don't make as much money as some of the new schoolers. And when I speak this, I don't even really speak it specific to just rap, just the culture in general and all kind of stuff. You know, there's more money being made out of different things where artists back in the days had to do, you know, 10 or 20 shows to make, you know, what some of these artists are making in one show. So I think there's a lot to be learned on both sides, but the first thing we got to do is stop and listen to each other. Quit being like, yo, man, I ain't trying to hear these mumble rappers. I'm trying to hear them talk about shooting and killing each other. I mean, we listen to NWA, we listen to Ghetto Boys, but the difference was we had Public Enemy, we had X. So there was a balance, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we all have a responsibility to have that dialogue and not shut each other down.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot to be said too about passing the torch.
Yes, mentorship.
On like, you know, in the 90s, we were trying to get on, like we were trying to come up, we were trying to get time, we were trying to like network and politic and do this. And I don't think we ever realized that we were creating history and that we were doing new things and like venturing into new territory and new turf. And there were obstacles that we had. There was this whole thing called technology that happened. So this is like a whole new world of hip hop. I was doing a high school program like years ago, and this student came in and he was like, "Yo, I heard you doing this hip hop class. What you gonna do for my career?" And I'm like, first of all, you're in high school. But what he had was 40,000 YouTube hits, and this was like back then.
Wow.
So in a way, it's like, what your old self gonna tell me? You know, I'm making money, I'm reaching people. You telling me I gotta stand out and hand out some flyers when I can just go on Snapchat or like, so there's a whole different dynamic, like what our generation dealt with and what their generation is dealing with, that sometimes we just sound bitter and out of touch. And they don't want to hear that. So even our approach sometimes is just whack. You know, we come at them like we're talking, you know, at them. There's like no, and then we generalize, you know, we say things like y'all young people and what y'all are doing. And there's some young people doing some really, really dope stuff. So I think we have to be mindful and cautious in our eldership. And, you know, I'm still meeting a lot of elders who don't even know the basics. So like, we have to re-educate ourselves before we call ourselves teaching them something that's been here their whole life. Like ever since they've been born, there's been hip hop. But it's not the same for us. So we just have to kind of come to it. It's a whole new thing because hip hop has got all these generations in it. You can be a grandma and listen to hip hop, and your grandkids can listen to it, and it's completely different hip hop. But we still have a huge generational gap that we're working to fill, and you know, in the work that we do.
That is real. I want to bring in some comments from Cruz because he's pushing back a little bit, and I like what he's saying here. He said, and this is through Facebook, he says, "I think there are plenty of great lyricists in this generation. I feel like people complaining about the lack of lyrics in hip hop today are seeking lyrics from the wrong artists. Saba, Jid, Vel, The Wonder, and Solomon Brigham are all great examples, you know, of younger artists doing some great things." And he went on to say, the problem may not be the lack of lyrical artists. Maybe it's more so the lack of exposure and support that those type of artists get.
I agree with that.
I think that's true. I think there is an oversaturation of everything, like hip hop, any genre of music. there's just so much. And a lot of those artists that are just, really dope that we would love are just getting drowned out sometimes,
Yeah, because in our day, we had to like call the radio station and wait for them to give you a song. Or you had to like go to video jukebox, so you had to know somebody.
Or somebody gave you a tape and you had a dub, like it was very grassroots.
But now you go and you type hip hop, and like you're like 3 pages in before you know anybody you recognize.
Right.
So there's so much access that it used to not be such a wide open playing field. So now there's so much out there that unless you know what you're looking for, you're just going to get whatever crap is on the surface that's like easily accessible. But like Cruz said, it's absolutely out there. And if you know what you're looking for, then you'll know where to find it.
Yep. Shout out Cruz also. He got that new 94 tape out. Shameless plug. I got to join.
Oh, dope.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's almost as if like someone needs to write a book about the dope hip hop.
Yeah.
Just saying. Seriously, that's one of the reasons we do this program. And there's a lot of folks popping up like us, even before us, that are we're realizing the power is in our hands. We can start these podcasts. You don't need thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to start these things. You can start it from the ground up. And you can, put on anybody you want, have anybody you want on that will come, obviously. Right. So, yeah.
And like one of the things that we talked about too in the class was the importance of reclaiming our narrative. You know what I mean? Like instead of like letting the industry dictate the narrative, we reclaim it ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And allow space for the younger generation to partner with the younger generation in that movement, you know what I mean, of reclaiming the narrative and presenting it to the world the way we want it to be presented instead of the other way around.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened to us. Is that our stories were told by people who were profiting off of it.
Exactly.
And so, now we're in a place where our trauma sells. We have to control our narrative and make sure that it's, authentic to our story.
Yeah. I just wanted to piggyback on what we were talking about with the artists too, when we talked about this earlier. Artist development.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's also a bigger difference also too, right? Because I was actually talking with a brother. I was in the studio earlier and I was talking with a brother and he said that I'm not going to expose the kid or whatever, but super dope artist. He's got like, I don't know, like over like 50,000 followers on Instagram, all this stuff. Super dope artist. And then he brings the artist. He says, yo, I got a show out in New York at SOB's. The kid comes, the place is bananas packed. He said, the kid goes to the side and says, bro, I've never been on stage.
Wow.
Yeah. Now he said, mind you, he said he did the show. He went, he went all out. It was a great show, but he told me, he said, I had never been on stage. And I was like, wow, artist development.
Yeah.
And that's a big part, like you say, because, you can go from the closet, to from the closet to the laptop out to the world, music. And, you could be great with the pen, but as soon as somebody puts you on stage, there's stage fright. You don't know how to do it. You don't have breath control. You're rapping on vocals, so.
I think with that technology piece in terms of social media and just access. So a lot of people learned how to rap from YouTube or video, right? They just see the video and they're like, oh, okay, I could do that. Wow. But those of us who like come from the old school, like we practiced, and you rehearsed, and you got with your crew, and you wanted to be better than like there was an art,
and there was values,
and we crafted. But if the way that you learn the game is that you could make a whole album on your computer in your bedroom, like that's great that you can control your voice like that and put your stuff directly out. But you miss all the other steps that you get from like the social interaction, the human experience that hip hop is, and especially just from the old school. Like that's one thing that's missing now because you can do it so quickly on your own, and you can produce a replica of what you see. But then when you get on stage, like you said, there's no breath control. You can't hold the mic. You don't rock the crowd. Like all of that stuff is missing. So Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the community, right? Like, cause I thought, like, for me coming up, I used to study y'all. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I would come and and just like other people into the show, and I'm in the cut, like, oh, that's how Cool Out. Okay, the next time I do a show, I'm gonna do what Cool Out and Amina did, or watching what Pro did, like. And then y'all would pull me to the side, like like I remember Chris pulling me to the side, like, man, the next time you do this, try that. Try this, try that. It was like that community where we was learning. Like, y'all my teachers, man. Like, I'll just put it out there. Y'all, I learned a lot from y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you included, Pro. Like, even though me and you from the same, we from that same time, but I learned from you too. So it's just,
and I was learning from Chris.
That was the community, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the
truth be
community
told,
aspect that Amina's talking about. Like, we had that. You know what I mean?
Truth be told, we were all learning from each other because I was watching y'all too. You know what I mean? So.
And I think that's it, Cool Out, that we're learning from each other. Because, Amina, you were talking about, like, if you learn how to do all the stuff in your room, like, that's super dope. There's some legends out there that I'm sure are still paying a grip to go to a studio, and they don't understand social media. And it's like, man, these young people, like, they could teach us so much and vice versa. So it's not so much like, it's, a lot of times when people see something different, they think it's bad. A lot of this it's not bad. It's not a moral issue. It's just a different experience. It's like, man, if we bring both of those experiences together, we would make each other better,
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why we have to break down these barriers between the generations, and just have more conversation, more community. And from every young person that I've ever exposed to what I think is like authentic practice have been nothing but gracious and receptive. And most young people are like, this was a missing link. I knew there had to be missing pieces. I just didn't know what they were.
And nobody was telling.
So, if nobody's ever told you, how will you know? And then people are like, you can go look it up. Well, if I don't even know what to look up. So we still have to, like, hold hands and teach and still just be preservers of the culture. I had an esteemed hip hop academic person come and visit my class. And we had said something, one of the students asked about something with the elements. And this person said, oh, we don't even do that no more. We don't do the elements no more.
Oh my, clutch my pearls.
And I thought, I had to check them, like, hold on, for the purpose of this course to understand hip hop, you can't understand hip hop without understanding the elements. But this person was just like, DJ and music, and that's the trap we fall into. So it goes back to telling our own stories.
Yeah.
When we tell the story in whole, when I tell it to young people, they embrace it and they're like, thank you for giving me these missing pieces. And then I encourage them to go do what they do. Like, put their voice on it, put your mark on hip hop. But as long as you know about 1520 Sedgwick, then you can go on.
Yes.
And do whatever you choose with it.
Right. And that exchange also goes with, okay, who do you guys listen to? Who put me up on somebody that I need to listen to? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do that all the time. They'd be like, yo, Cool Out, who's your favorite producer? I'm like, I run through my list of people and I'm like, man, who's out now that I should be listening to? Who y'all rock with? You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's just getting on their level. And they're like, yeah, listen to this part. We're pushing buttons. We're doing all of the same thing, right? We're just doing it in a different way. So I'm like, who y'all rock with? Let me know. Like, I want to be able to understand what is being delivered to me, just like as I'm giving it to y'all. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we need to do.
And it seemed like, Till, basically what we all saying is what we've talked about several shows. Chris, we talked about the gatekeepers of hip hop. Like, my first time coming around to the elbow when I first met y'all, I couldn't just get on the mic. Right. You know what I mean? And when you got your chance to get on the mic, you had to show and prove, or you wasn't going to ever get up there again. And I think that's missing. And a part of that too that's missing today is the connection. It's like that's the difference between the old and the new. It's no connection, and we need the connection. My 10-year-old helped me We be battling about who the best rapper still. Like, man, get that mess out of here, man. That mess ain't. I don't want to hear that. And you know, I let him listen to what he listened to, but I still come back and be like, well, because I was playing Oh Yeah today, and he was like, I like that, Dad. I was like, yeah, you like that? I made that. You didn't make that beat. I was like, yeah, I did. I made that beat. And he's like, oh, okay, I like that. I like that. And I'm like, okay, well, he's 10, and I know he around here bopping the Drake and everything else. So if he say he can like that, then I know he being authentic with his ears. Like he'll tell you that, oh man, I like that. So I try to keep a connection because I think that's what is missing between the old and the new is that we're disconnected.
For sure.
Before we swing over to Al Mas for any further community questions, I got to get this question in from my man Vern. I love this dude. He does some really cool children's hip hop with me. And he asked, do you think the standard of what we think hip hop is has dropped because it's too easy to put out anything and now it's too saturated? We've kind of touched on this a little bit, but what do y'all think about it?
Right.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it is very saturated. I think the internet is partly to blame for that, just because anybody can put out, like, I remember when Reverb Nation came out, and like I typed Chicago hip hop, and like everybody I knew was like, at first we were at the top, and then we were like at the bottom, and I didn't know who any of these other people were. So there's so much out there. But I also wonder what people consider hip hop these days.
Yeah.
And you know how they classify it, and if they consider what they're making hip hop. I'm always curious about that, because a lot of people, it sounds like you're rapping over a beat to me, but they'll say this is something else. So yeah, I think how we classify hip hop, but I definitely think that but I mean, it's all relative, right? Like what's oversaturated?
Right.
Like, you know, if everybody on my block is a rapper, is that too many people having personal narratives?
Right.
So like, I think the whole landscape is different now.
Yeah.
You know, so at one point it was, you know, a couple of, you know, it was a few people here and there, or you knew some people who had stuff because you needed a label and you needed some money and you needed a studio and you needed all these things to take your word and spread it out. But because everybody can do that now, it's like TikTok.
Right.
Everybody can do it. So, you know, what's a good video anymore? Because everybody's making videos.
Yep. And to add to that, I think with that, and to expand that, is who's the gatekeeper, right?
Yes.
True that.
You know what I mean? So it's supposed to be us, but who's exploiting, you know, who's, and I'm not pointing blame, but when you look at the separation between even the generations, you know, how they talk about, yo, they getting money. Y'all wasn't getting money. You know, y'all wear funny clothes. Yo, y'all wore funny clothes. You know what I mean? It's always there's the puppet master. You know what I mean? So that's also the bigger picture outside of us saying, well, you know, anybody can do it. This is true, but it also needs to be propelled. You know what I'm saying? So like those gatekeepers are social media sites. Those gatekeepers are record labels, if they even still exist, that still, you know, take this stuff to another level. So it still goes back to artist development. Everybody can put it out, but is it quality? And is it quality based around whose eyes and whose vision and whose ears? Right? The young generation, like, I love it all, you know, whatever it is, they love it. So our generation, we're more in a lane of an adult contemporary hip hop. So, you know, we still like our Commons, we still like our Talib Kweli's, we still like our Mos Defs, you know, we still like our Arrested Development, all those different people. So the good thing is that it's enough out here for everybody. That nobody like, yo, you know, you ain't got to hate on it. It's enough. If you don't like it, you like the radio. I haven't listened to the radio in God knows how long, because there's so many other ways for you to be able to digest your music.
Right.
So,
you know, it does make me think of something. Are you saying gatekeepers? Because then I start wondering, okay, who's really protecting our culture?
Exactly.
Like,
come on, Mina, speak on that.
Like, because then anybody can, which is kind of where we are now. Just anybody can do it and say, yo, I put out a mixtape, I'm a rapper, and you know, I've never performed, but so who is protecting the culture. I consider myself one of those people.
Yes.
But it's a job. Like, it's legit a job, and you have to fight with whatever system has been constructed, because I've got to fight with who's the hottest rapper, who's doing the hottest this, who's, whatever. And none of that has anything really to do with the culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have people like myself and other hip hop preservationists who like really work to protect the culture.
I like that term.
It's a challenging task because we can't stop people from coming
Right.
in. I like to refer people to the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, which is a document that was drafted in, I think, 2001 by a bunch of hip hop pioneers who I'm feeling like they got to a point where they were like, you know what? There's no gatekeeper. We have to put some things in place to determine, to guide what this practice should look like.
Yeah.
And so they got a bunch of signatures on it. They presented it to the New York City Council. They presented it to the United Nations. And ever since then, it's been this recognition of hip hop as a culture of peace and prosperity. So that I can stand behind, and I can say, here's a document. And here are people who say this is how it should be practiced. But without that, it's just YouTube and whatever GarageBand and whatever people want to make music with. And people don't understand that, like, there are principles and rules and laws and things that we abide by. But when we throw all that out of the window because in the 90s, the media started writing our story.
Man, facts.
We fight to get control of what is hip hop. And so I think that's when you mentioned gatekeeper, it made me think, like, hold on, I'm a gatekeeper. And this is what the work that we all of us face when we are confronted with things that are purporting to be hip hop and we know they're not.
Absolutely.
Do you know where that?
I love that.
Do you know where that Hip Hop Declaration can be found if people want to see it?
If you Google Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, you'll find it. It was spearheaded by Temple of Hip Hop, but it's all over. It's 18 principles that should informally guide this practice, and it's a phenomenal document. Chris is getting a copy of
okay.
We need a copy.
It's a poster on the wall. So in my hip hop class, I encourage students to do cool things, so they recreated this poster and we gave them away at one of our events. But it just outlined some of the principles, but there's an official document that you can go check out. So
speaking to round up this conversation here, I like what Vern came back and said. He said gatekeepers have been replaced by gateways.
Yes.
I think that's very true.
What it is.
Very true. Iomas, anything else on your mind around?
I like what I want to kind of stay on what Amina said, like hip hop preservationist. Like, I love that term. And so I think like that goes,
I think I might have borrowed that from Karis once. So I just
okay.
I heard it. It's what we do.
Teacher.
So I want to ask, I never knew how you both got into hip hop. So I would like to know, like, how did you guys get introduced to hip hop?
Wow. You want to go first, sir?
I can go first. I'll make it somewhat brief.
Okay.
So when I was 7 years old, my family moved to Nigeria, which is where my father's from. I went elementary school, high school in Nigeria. I'm going to date myself here, but it's okay, because this is for the purpose of history. This is for history. So I graduated at age 16 in Nigeria, moved to Chicago, didn't know hardly a thing about hip hop, because I moved there in the 70s. I come back in the 80s, and there's this thing called hip hop. So I'm in college. I've always been a writer, and I'm in a poetry class. And then I see a guy from my poetry class after class one day, and he's like, "Yo, you're the girl in my poetry class. I like your poetry. Would you consider joining my rap group?" Now, at this time, I don't really know what a rap group is, really. But he was like, "You can do your poems over a beat, and you'll love it." And I was in theater and I was a writer. So I'm like, okay, bet. So I joined a rap group. That was my entry into hip hop. The rap group that I joined, though, were really a safe group. We were a bunch of teenagers. Two of the guys' fathers was a deacon. So all of our hip hop was safe. Like it was Black history, it was safe sex, and it was Jesus. And I was raised a Muslim. So I was a little iffy on the Jesus raps, but that just showed you like where we are. And like that was my introduction. And then one day our DJ was like, hey, you ever heard this? And he held up Eric B. and Rakim record.
Yo.
And that day my life changed because I was like, oh, so this is what I'm able to do lyrically. Like, this is what I need to do. And so that kind of was my introduction into hip hop. But we were also a heavily performing group. So like we were gigging, this group that I joined, it was 4 guys and myself. We were called MGA. We were based out of Roseland. And it was Master Groove Association, just like, so you know how like retro we were. But we gigged a lot, you know, and that's like where I like built up my chops for performing and just activism, because my roots started at a very community-based level. Like we were doing like, you know, block parties and community stuff and no profanity. And so I was able to appreciate hip hop from that angle. And then I started organizing in the 90s because I knew cool people who didn't know each other. And I just started organizing events, and you know, the rest is history. But my introduction was really as an MC, and really by happenstance, because I didn't even know really what being an MC was. Yeah.
Wow. That's dope.
Wow.
Yeah, that's dope.
Man.
And now look at me, repping
I
for
know, right?
Wow. For me, little different, but similar kind of way. I come from a musical family. My grandmother played drums, organ. My uncle played the drums. My mom, you know, sings, and you know, all kind of records and stuff throughout the house. So for me, it was, you know, our thing was, before you could go out to, you know, go outside and kick it on Saturdays, you had to clean up the whole house. So, you know, you couldn't even watch cartoons. So my mom was like, clean up the house. But the only thing she would let us do was listen to music. So we'd be cleaning up. So I unintentionally ended up becoming the DJ when my brother couldn't get to the turntable. So I'm going through records and putting on stuff. So I really got introduced to music always in my house. And so every experience I could always correlate to some sort of music. But then my brother started taking my mom's records and started, you know, breaking and Crush Groove and Beat Street and all that. Well, not Crush Groove yet, but Beat Street and Breaking it came out. So, you know, he in there trying to be, you know, Grand Wizard Theodore scratching and everything else. So when he would leave, he'd take my mom's records. He got like Mitch Mac turntables. So then when he'd leave, I grab his records, Monkey See, Monkey Do. So I'm in there scratching. And then my first step would have been as DJing. And then when Run DMC came out with Rockbox, I was like, oh, I'm like, word. I'm like, lyrics, MC. I'm like, all right, I can do that too. So then I started penning some stuff. You know, breaking B Street, everybody thought they could break dance. So I was a B-boy. You know, I had crazy backspin. I had the little flight suit, all that, you know what I'm saying? Fat laces, all that. Then when I got into junior high school, I had a couple of my friends who were tagged. You know, they do graffiti and tag and stuff. So they were showing me how to do my letters and my lines and all that. So I was doing that too. And then my mom, you know, she started seeing that I was like just really into it. She was like, man, you really into like music more than just, you know, singing and stuff, like rapping and all this other stuff. And she saw everything. She saw my graffiti stuff. She said, oh, this is nice. She said, but if you get caught, I'm not bailing you out of jail. So my career was short-lived. Then from there, it just progressed. You know, if you're a DJ, you know, for me, my next step was to get into production, right? Because as an MC, as a DJ, but I didn't, you know, being 15, 16, I didn't have no equipment. So I was working at McDonald's at the time, making like $3.25. I take my whole paycheck, go to the studio with my records. The producer at the time, Rox Davey out in Bellwood basement, he had like he had like a Lindrum actually. At matter of fact, it was a Lindrum at the time. It only had like 2 seconds sampling time. So I kept doing that. I was killing my McDonald's paychecks, going there to make beats. And then one day I was on my break and I went across the street and there was a pawn shop and I got a TR-606. And after that, I was like, okay, I can program my drums. I already know how to chop samples. do other stuff, loop stuff. So then I looped it on tape decks, and then I do pause tape for 2 or 3 minutes of the sample, program the drums underneath it, hang a mic from the garage, everybody overdub their vocals. So that was, you know, I would take whatever it was that I had and figure out, okay, my end process is to make a song. My end process is to create this art. My end process is to have this feeling. So that's how I kind of got into it. It just was all about music. And then when hip hop came about, I was like, man, this is some really cool stuff that's happening, and I have to be a part of it. And it spoke to us. It was the voice. It was the voice of the youth at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So wasn't everybody doing the James Brown back in my mom's days? Everybody was doing the James Brown. You know what I'm saying? It was break dancing. You know what I'm saying? You know, you had the message with Grandmaster Flash Melly Mel. Like, you had some real deep political stuff. So it caught my ear right away because it was what I was actually living.
Yeah.
Dope. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. That's dope.
Yeah, thanks for sharing those stories. So there's something that I just got hip to recently, the Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Month. Can you tell us what that is, what your involvement in that is?
Man. So about 18 years ago, I had been organizing events and doing shows, and like, we knew Chicago hip hop was dope. But what we started to realize was that we knew the history of everybody else's hip hop scene except ours. Like, some people knew stuff, but like, our hip hop wasn't getting the same kind of props as New York and West Coast, and we knew everybody's hip hop. And so Chris and I were talking, and we thought, with a friend of ours, and we were thinking like, man, Chicago should have its own like hip hop day. And then we thought, not a day. And then I'm like, you know what? How about a whole month? Chicago should have a whole month dedicated to recognizing and celebrating and learning about its own hip hop history. And so we drafted a resolution. It was myself, Chris, and a gentleman named Mark Armstrong, and drafted a resolution. I presented it to my alderman. Happened to be pro hip hop, and told him what we wanted to do. He agreed to present it to the Chicago City Council. And so it was presented to Chicago City Council. They voted on it and approved it unanimously in 2003. Oh, wait, we have the resolution. Oh, it's around here somewhere. And so we got a wonderful resolution with the mayor's signature on it. And it recognizes the month of July as Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Month. I am pretty certain that we were the first city to have a month recognized by its city council. And I don't know for a fact that I've heard of anyone else doing such a thing since. There are hip hop weeks, there are hip hop days, but Chicago has 31 days in the summer to celebrate all that we have done, contributed, and just take a moment to, you know, shout out our own and celebrate us. So that's something that Chris and I are really proud of. We're in our 18th year, and it's super awesome. Yeah.
What do you?
Go ahead. No, I was about to ask the same.
I think the same question. So what do y'all do in that month?
Oh wow! So over the last 18 years, the things have changed a lot.
Yes.
In the beginning, primarily Chris, myself, and artist collaborators we would do events, we would have workshops, there would be forums, there would be showcases all over the city with various partners. So it was really a month-long worth of calendar events of celebrating. So anything from workshops to picnics, performances, exhibits. We had a gallery up one year for the whole month with Chicago hip hop stuff. We had workshops and things there. But that was a lot for one person and two people. And we were a nonprofit, but at the time I didn't realize that nonprofit meant fundraising. I just thought it meant we didn't make any money. And so we were philanthropists, as I found out. And we were just doing a lot of stuff ourselves. So what has happened since then is a lot of people in the city have just taken it upon themselves to do things. So like this past year, a Chicago hip hop museum opened up in Bronzeville, and it's a temporary space, curated by Kingdom and Kingdom Rock and Artistic of Chirac Nation. And some other people that were really integral in that. But it's like a whole house full of Chicago hip hop memorabilia. And you guys are both in it. I'm
Are you serious?
It's full of people. And so things like that have happened. Like there was a roller skating jam on the west side that took place. Brother Salim and
Twisted
came out.
Oh,
TJ
nice.
Crawford was a part of that. So people around the city are owning the month now, and folks are doing things. So
That's dope.
So when it was a lot of work, and you were like, "Oh man, this is a lot," did you have second thoughts like maybe we should have did a day or a week?
No. I was salty though. Like, because it's a lot of work, and you know, people are like, yeah, I got you. Just let me know what you need. I got you. And then you can't find those people. And like you know, I mean, it's not throwing shade on anybody because a lot of people were there and a lot of people contributed.
Right.
But it's so much work to like really do consistently to the level that you want to.
Right.
So I think in 2010 I was jaded. Like I was mad at my city because I put in so much work and like so much out of pocket money, and like people came out, but anyway, I got over it because that year myself, Chris, and Ange 13 became United States Cultural Envoys. And we spent 2 weeks in the Ivory Coast in Cote d'Ivoire, West Africa, traveling the country for 2 weeks. We traveled 7 regions. We met with artists. We had performances. We did workshops, and that we left on August 1st. So it was like a whole like July where I was like sweating and doing stuff and you know going out and handing out flyers and promoting, and then got to spend 2 weeks representing Chicago and West Africa with my colleagues and peers. So so it was dope.
Yes, and I want to piggyback off what you're saying. I think one of the biggest challenges, and I think it's another thing that we always face with community and something we're dealing with now is getting everybody to understand that the creation of Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Month was for everyone.
Right.
So if you were, I don't care what you were doing a hip hop coloring book workshop. It didn't matter. If you're doing it in a month, this is a part, so we were encouraging people to do stuff, it didn't matter. And in Chicago, you guys know from being here, there could be 10 events going on any given night of the week.
Right.
So people took it from it being a celebration of culture sometimes to like a promoter clash. Like, hey, why are you promoting something on Hip Hop Heritage Month on my night? It's like, it's okay, bro. Like, there's enough here. You can go here. Everybody can go there. We just want everybody to carry the flag that we're celebrating our city and the rich culture of hip hop. So that was also tough to get people to understand that because we were on the forefront of creating this, but we didn't create this for us.
Yeah,
we didn't create this for people.
It wasn't our month, right?
People would come like, so what we doing for Hip Hop Heritage Month this year? We like,
and what? No, they would say, what are y'all doing for Hip Hop Heritage Month?
What are we doing? Yeah, we're like,
no, it's for all of us. It's for everybody. I think that's why it was such a burden because we literally had to be in everything. But I think, and thank you for clearing, because I don't want people to think like I was like angry at my city.
Right.
But like we had to do the baby steps. So that people would now understand that it belongs to them. So every year we still had to do all the events and do all the booking and spearhead there was always a kickoff, and we were all there at the kickoff party, and we were always at a wrap-up party, and we did all the events. But people thought it was ours. And I think people also didn't want to step on toes. So they didn't want to like mess with our thing, and we're like, no, it's for the whole city. It's everybody. But I think now people have really accepted and embraced it and own it as theirs.
That's amazing.
I think about like businesses. Businesses oftentimes don't make money for a long time, and most businesses fail. Because people they run out of money, they run out of excitement, energy, whatever. And it's like y'all didn't. You kept on going, you know, and now it has, you know, been the success that you want it to be, where it's other people. So that's dope. So,
and I will say Chicago hip hop played a great role in that, because the hip hop stayed like up here, and people kept creating and kept building, and the culture, Chicago hip hop culture is so alive. All the elements are alive. They are practiced. Like, it's not like we used to do that.
No, like
we still do that. So I think if the community wasn't so just so diligent about keeping the culture alive, there might not be, it might not be what it still is, Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Month, to the point that in the 18th year we get a museum because people have decided that we're going to curate. So and we're still doing stuff. So I think that you know, the city just being on top of its hip hop game has kept it relevant.
Is the resolution out there somewhere online that where people can like look at it and read it?
It is. I know it's on our website.
Okay, all right, cool.
So it's somewhere on there, but we're revamping it, so I don't know where it is on there. But yes, but if people follow your show and your Facebook, we will share it with you, and they can
great.
see it.
Sweet, thank you.
Because I think that could be, you know, inspiring, you know, for other cities, like in Cincinnati. You know, there's great history here, great, you know, and so there could be something similar, you know. That
and you know, we've been building hip hop sister cities too. Off of that, so when we went to Ivory Coast, we built sister city connections with all of those towns that we worked with, and subsequently even did projects and worked with artists. And so we have unofficially adopted, like St. Louis is a Chicago hip hop sister city, and Milwaukee and Indianapolis, and so we've informally adopted these as our hip hop sister cities. But so many hip hop communities like around the country have such rich histories that I'm excited to see what people do, and I hope they do. Everybody go get a month.
Definitely, that'd be dope. Super dope.
Amazing.
All right, an unrelated hip hop question. All right, there's 24 hours in a day, so in the 2 or 3 hours that you're not doing hip hop, what do you all do? And you know, what fills up your days when you're not doing hip hop stuff?
Hip hop.
Thinking about more hip hop.
Well, you know, that's crazy because we've been together for 26 years, and we've been doing hip hop the whole 26 years. And so I teach a hip hop course, so my day job is hip hop. So I honestly, like, I think maybe sleep in those few hours.
That's pretty much it. I live in the studio. We're in the studio right now. But here I go to another studio. But
you know what else? It's our life. And I am also all about Afro diasporic culture. So I'm hip hop, but I'm also 24/7 African diasporic. And so even though it's hip hop, it's like everything we do is about our people and about building and about community and growth. So
Same
just
here.
like always, that's basically how we live.
And listen, I mean, and just to, because some people think we just being here boom bapping it. I won too, I won. We do other stuff. You know, we watch documentaries, movies. You know, we travel a lot. I mean, we travel all over the country. You know, I mean, we've been in Cincinnati. We've been, you know, everywhere, and we're also we're I don't know if you can see our vinyl, but we're vinyl collectors.
Oh wow.
We got a crazy 45 collection. So when we travel, you know, we look at the landscape of where we're at, you know, where the walk, whatever. We try to get our own information and history about where we're visiting. We'll try to go to museums. We definitely go crate digging. I know one time we went crate digging in Memphis, and we hit 8 stores in like 3 hours.
Wow.
So like, you know, it's like real. So, you know, we do that. I mean, watch documentaries, you know, we take walks together, you know,
I
we
paint.
go shopping. She paints. You
I
know,
guess we do a lot of stuff.
we do a lot of
So the crate digging, is there a record store that really sticks out to you that you really like going to?
Wow.
Oh,
Well, you know what?
Man, rest in peace to Dr. Wax, man.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes. Rest in
saying?
peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Man.
you know, so we love 45s.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we go searching for 45s. Wherever
Okay.
we go, we look for record stores, we go find 45. And so we were in Pittsburgh
Mm.
and we went to Jerry's Records.
Yeah.
And like I was blown away. Jerry's and it was another, was it Attic?
God. Was it Attic?
It was a record store that I was sitting on the sidewalk, like.
Oh no,
like,
that's in
that
Detroit.
Attic?
Memories and Melodies. Is that
Oh,
no.
We don't know.
I
But
know memories. I know memories and melodies.
Yeah,
That's the
Memories and
spot.
Melodies in Detroit. Yeah.
That's the
That was, I was
spot.
outside sitting on the sidewalk, like digging through records. So I think everywhere we go, there's someplace that really stands out. But we're always eager to find like the next cool spot to find gems.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But Pittsburgh was really cool. Memphis was cool.
Memphis was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we didn't go in Cincinnati. So
We did not
gotta
go.
come.
We're coming back to
And you know what? I love Cincinnati.
I love
But
Yeah.
no, I freaked out because it is the most interesting place. I'm from a flatland, like Chicago.
Oh, right.
Flat, yeah.
And I was in Cincinnati, like scared, like you gotta go all the way up there. Beautiful. I felt like I was like in a foreign land. So
It's really hilly.
It's really it's similar to San Francisco. Yeah, it's not as hilly, I would say, but yeah, it's definitely hilly in certain parts, especially. In San Francisco, speaking of crate digging, I was one of my first experiences in San Francisco. I was real little, but I was still buying tapes at the time, I think it was. And I begged my parents we had family out there. I begged my parents to take me to Amoeba Records. And they took me. Man, that was like walking into heaven. The thing was like a warehouse full, you know? It's like, wow. Crazy.
Records.
Yeah, man. So I'm with you on going to the record stores.
Yes.
Super dope. Yes. Cool. Well, listen. Before we celebrate some really dope hip hop albums, is there anything else we wanted to get to? Almas, Profound, Amina, Cool, Chris.
I'm curious to know, like, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No,
bro.
I was just gonna say I didn't even realize, man. It's already been an hour. Like, man.
I know it's flying.
Yeah,
I know. This is, man. I didn't. So I want to know, like, what are you guys up to now? Like, what's next on the menu for y'all? Like, what are y'all?
Oh, and Chris sending some beats to me. He's sending some beats to me and you after the show is over for that EP we working on, IO. So yeah, say word, yeah.
It's official. It's the Profound Cool Out Almas.
Yep.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Featuring Amina on one of them tracks. Let's get it.
Come on.
Let's go.
It's easy. Put out by Everybody's Hip Hop.
There you go.
Exactly.
I'll interview y'all about it.
There we go. That's right. That's right. Well, we're working on a bunch of different projects. We put out a lot of different things like this past summer, some singles. We put out a project with Sam I Am the MC. Freestyle battle rapper from 106, MTV, all that stuff. So it was really nice. Called Remote Control, came out in August. We put out a project with S. Dean called Prefo Puerte. He's a artist who's in the Ivory Coast. By the way, he's Nigerian, but he's in the Ivory Coast. We put together a whole EP. Put that out. We just signed an artist by the name of Muyen, who's in Lagos, Nigeria.
Super excited about him. And
y'all
ain't even ready for this.
Yeah, it's not.
Y'all
even,
not ready.
It's not even hip hop. It's we like to call it African diasporic music.
Yeah.
So
I love that, man.
Yeah, it's a dope time.
So yeah, new single and all that stuff will be coming out soon. We have a new Urbanized music project we're working on.
Nice.
Working on some stuff with Prime Meridian. Andreas Haley. Me and Bam Ski got Arrogant Insecurity project. It's just a lot of different stuff. Videos.
Yeah.
Just did a show with Large Professor the other night out in Aurora at Fox Valley Mall at Thingamajig. So there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is cooking right now, which is good. You're
That's
staying
what's
busy,
up.
that's for sure.
That's
Yeah.
what's up.
In your last project, if I'm correct, is A Day in the Life.
Yes.
Yeah.
The last
Yes.
project you put out, yeah. And that
Yes.
you can find it if you're tuning in. You can find that on all streaming platforms
Yes.
and on Bandcamp. So
Yes.
preferably Bandcamp because you put money in their pockets.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
But
right.
yeah, so make sure you check that album out. Yeah, one question I forgot about, but I did want to ask you. Being from Chicago, you know, we got a Chicago podcast coming up. You know, for the whole month of November, all Chicago MCs on the show, starting with you all. Are there some Chicago MCs that you just really enjoy listening to, that like just really speak to your soul and resonate with you?
Man, 2 of them are on the screen right
outside of these screens right here.
Man.
Let's start with those 2. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Profile, Urbanized, I Am God.
That dude cold.
A lot of real waves. Feel More Green.
Yes.
I mean, this is so many different people. There's FemCs. You got this one young lady, Freddie Farted. You got Brittany Carter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got this is so many different people. I mean, you got the Sabas and No Names and stuff, but this it's so saturated with so many different people. But I can't think of all the people kind of like right off the top of my head. But there's so many people that are doing so many amazing things in Chicago. I mean, you got Ed too. He hasn't put out. He put out joints and stuff, but he's also heavily active in the community, running Haven Studio. So, and the thing about it too is you have artists who are taking their artistry to a different level, and they understand that they have responsibility. So outside of them putting encoded messages and messages within their lyrics, they're also getting back to the community. They're doing coat drives. They're a part of different things. You know, they understand that without community, they wouldn't even be able to do the stuff that they're doing.
Absolutely.
I mean, of course, you know, Common and, you know, Twista. I remember them growing up, but I was in college at IU in Bloomington, Indiana, and I had a record store there, and my cousin was there, and we found this CD, and I was like, I don't know, I only have so much money, I can only buy one. I was like flipping through a few. He was like, I'm telling you, you need to buy this one. You need to buy this. And it was no additives, no preservatives, by All Natural. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna buy it. I don't know, I've never heard of them, but I trust you, cousin. So I bought it, and that introduced me to the All Natural crew, Almas, of course. I was like, man, this
the whole family tree.
The whole family tree. I was like, man, this crew is super dope.
Wow. Yeah. That's a classic.
With one of the still one of my all-time favorite hip hop joints. Anytime it plays, I want to slam dance.
50 years down the line.
Oh, that's so
will be the old school artist.
Yes.
That is such a great, and we're getting close. We're getting close to 50 years, you know.
We are.
Such a great song. I love that joint. So if you're listening into the podcast and you don't know who we're talking about, do your research, Google All Natural Crew, or is it incorporated? What was the official?
Yeah, the label was All Natural Inc., but the
All Natural Inc.
was All Natural.
That's right.
Cap D and Tone B Nimble.
Yeah.
So,
Dope.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, y'all ready to have some fun celebrating some hip hop albums?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we call this one word. I'll show you an album cover. I'll say the name for our podcast listeners, and you try to describe the album or how you're feeling about the album using one word or less. Okay.
All right. And we got to take turns because we got to jump in together.
Right. Nah, y'all.
We know y'all. Go ahead, bro.
We know y'all move as one.
Right.
But you might have a different word.
All right. Right.
That's true. All right. So you get 2 words basically. You get 2 words.
All right.
All right. Here we go. Right. First album, No One Can Do It Better by the DOC.
Oh.
Man, one is this fair?
like I tell my kids, life is not fair.
I'm just gonna say You said one word, huh? Can I say it? All right, I'm gonna say no fillers.
Okay.
No
okay.
fillers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We'll give that to you. Hyphenated. No fillers.
Yeah,
All right,
no
all right, all right.
fillers.
Take that one.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna say deadly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
DLC
Wow.
was deadly.
Yeah.
All right, good job. Round one, you did well. You did. Oh, go ahead. Were you gonna say something else?
Oh no, I was gonna say I was fun fact. I was with Big Daddy Kane actually at the Fresh Fest, and I was in a hotel with him with a couple of my friends through one of my buddies, Casper Nation of Islam, and we had gotten a call. He had gotten the call when DLC had gotten to the accident when he had first gotten to the accident. Lost his voice. So, yeah.
Wow.
And that was one of my favorite records of all time. I like almost cried. I was like, I hope he's alive. You know, they was like, yeah, he's cool, but he had lost his voice. So yeah, just wanted to throw that in.
Damn.
Man,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
what a moment. All right, we're gonna travel to another part of the country for this one. This is Soul Food by Goody Mob.
Ooh.
Delicious.
Ah,
Nurturing.
nurture.
Mm.
You know the intro of that album. That's how you start an album.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanna be free.
Yeah.
Man, I got play that
Sometimes I
joint.
just play that joint.
Exactly. I played that
Yes.
one day all day. That's all I wanted to hear. Just like, yo, that joint's so cold, bro.
Dude. And the beat to the title track, Soul Food, that beat,
Yeah.
man, to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, you just have to move to it. Okay. All right, going to the East Coast.
All right.
One, Stakes is High by De La Soul.
Oh.
Ooh,
I got a screenshot that one. That pose, to me, it was like, it's like the word was there, it just wouldn't come out. That is hilarious.
I was gonna say
I love it.
intense.
Intense.
Intense was gonna be my word,
Okay. Yeah.
but I was stalling on it. So, but I think because it's like
Man. I'm gonna say necessary.
Necessary.
Man.
Why necessary?
Necessary
Yes.
because the album itself, it was
Was.
necessary for them to make that type of record because of what they were going through with stuff. And it was necessary that they gave us not De La Soul Balloon Mind State or De La Soul is Dead. They gave us Stakes is High. They told them it was like, y'all either do it or y'all out the door. And they brought it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I love
And
that
it's
album. That was
My favorite De La
They had,
album.
to, like,
actually.
they had to shake it up too. They had to do most of the production on their own. That was the way they
Yes.
parted. They parted with Prince Paul.
Chris Paul.
Chris
yeah.
Paul, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my favorite album of all time for a while.
Mine too, man.
Love that
Mine
album.
too. Like De La Soul is my favorite group, and Pasta Noose is my favorite MC, bro.
Same. That's why we get along so well.
Yes, exactly, bro.
Same exact, yeah.
Pause,
All right.
bro.
Next one. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back by Public Enemy.
Well, you starting trouble now.
I know.
Man.
Revolutionary.
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
All right, yeah,
Yes.
that's fitting.
That's definitely.
Yeah.
Just one word, rebel.
Rebel.
Mm.
Yeah.
Without a pause, I'm lowering my
There you
level.
Man, renegade.
All right.
That was the record that gave me permission. That record gave me permission.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, okay, I have
Right.
permission to do this.
Yes.
You know, I was thinking, I don't know who I was talking to, but who is the Public Enemy of today? Is there a group out there that's as political and
Dead Prez?
Dead Prez. That's the first
Well,
person that
yeah,
comes to
but
my
I
mind.
mean-
Dead Prez. You mean
You talking about even?
current.
You mean current?
Yeah, even more current. I can't think of any. I mean, there's some dope MCs out there,
Yeah.
but like a group like that,
Nobody's
No.
rapping
I don't
like
know
that.
if
that I
anyone-
know of.
Nah,
No.
no more, man.
we're gonna start that group.
Yeah, we need to.
Man.
There we go.
Right.
All right.
Man.
One more until we hit the lightning round. All right. Where it gets even more challenging.
Okay, this light.
All right.
Wait, let me get strapped in.
All right. This is Resurrection by Common.
Ooh, taking it to the crib.
Yes.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Facts.
I like that.
You know what? Chicago. I got to ride with the same thing on that.
All right. Before the lightning round, I'm
Wait,
sorry, we have
can I
to do
say
a
something
bonus
to
round.
that?
Go ahead,
It's only
Ayamaz.
2 moments when I was like, I'm always proud to be from Chicago and a Chicagoan. That's number one.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
the 2 proudest days that when I was smelling myself as a Chicagoan is when that album came out and when they drafted Derrick Rose. When the Bulls drafted Derrick Rose, that's when I was like, yo.
He's like Chicago and everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
I was smelling myself like, yes, sir, from Chicago, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, they're doing good this year too, aren't they?
Heck yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Go
indeed.
Chicago.
Matter of fact, we met around that time when that Resurrection album came out. We was on that
word.
rotation pretty heavy.
Oh, wow.
Man, we was at the
That's
elbow
dope.
heavy then.
Heavy.
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's super dope. All right, before the lightning round, this is the bonus round. I have to throw this in here because of who's in the room. Deeply rooted or deep rooted by Ayahuasca Marad.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Had to do it. Such a great album.
Oh my
Simple
God.
minds and simple rhymes need to.
I can't believe you did that, too.
They can't find the proper mathematic in
They
their
don't know
mind.
the
Come
word.
on.
Classic.
Knowledge of self keeps
There you go.
self
I was gonna
in
say
line.
original.
Original.
That's
Yeah,
dope too.
It's
Yeah.
such a good man. It's
Yeah.
such a dope
Original
album.
man and classic. Yes.
All right. Had to do it, album. I know they respect that album, so I had to do it. Okay.
Woo.
All right, the lightning round, it's a little bit different now. It's more challenging.
All
I'm going
right.
to show you 2 separate albums.
Okay.
And your goal is to think about which one resonates with you more in 2021. Okay.
Oh.
So you don't have to tell me which one is better. All right, that's kind of irrelevant. This is music. It hits us all differently. Which one resonates with you more in 2021? Okay. All right, here we go. In this corner, we have Back in Business by EPMD.
You playing games, Till.
And in this corner, we have Out of Business by EPMD.
Dang, dude.
I'm gonna have to say Back in Business.
I was gonna say Back in Business.
You can say the same one.
Oh,
You can say the same one.
it's like a
Back in Business.
newlywed.
Oh, we should play guess what the other
Right,
person's gonna
right.
say.
Yeah. No,
That's dope.
that was a high point. I mean, all the EPMD's albums were dope, but that one,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You wanted Eric and Parrish to get back together after all the crazy stuff you heard, and they jumped right back on the track and didn't miss a beat. Hit Squad, all that Squad. Dope.
Yeah, dope album. How about you, man?
I think musically, like sonically,
Eric
I'm in the moment. Like it resonates with me now
Yeah.
more so sonically.
Yeah. Dope. I love this. I like Back Out of Business too. I thought they were both dope.
Yes.
All right. These 2 are going to be hard. I think it's going to be hard. All right. We have Reflection Eternal, Train of Thought,
Oh.
or Black on Both Sides.
Oh, come on, bro. Come on, man. What are you doing to me, man? This is not fair. This is not fair.
And the way he do it too, like
I'm gonna pick Black on Both Sides.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Resonating with now, huh?
I'm only gonna say that because it's more militant
It is. There's a lot of this.
and like I think I'm probably more in that mindset now than Train of Thought. Even though Train of Thought,
Nope. You already said it.
I'm
Answer now. Talib, where you at, fam? I got you, bro. I love most. But the Talib Kweli Reflection Eternal, it resonates with me now because it's also a timeless. There's still a lot of topics and stuff on there, and that was them in their rawest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. I think I like Black on Both Sides better when it comes to lyrics. I like the delivery. I think I like the music on this one more.
Yeah, high tech was great.
Man,
You know, I love most, but I was just trying to. I ain't want to leave Talib out there. He was a Black South thing, so I figured we got to get the whole squad. You know, so
All right.
Yeah. And shout out to Talib in his book too. The book that he just put out. I forget what it's called. High Frequency or something like that. Frequency. Yeah. Plug that book.
All right.
Yeah.
Sure.
The last round, we're going to start off with what I think is an underrated album in the Boom Bap world. We have The Carnival by Wyclef Jean. I think this is a phenomenal album.
Bubble Coats.
And on the other side, we have The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Oh, come on. Y'all don't play fit. This is come on.
Woo!
Okay. Which is resonating with us now?
Correct.
Who goes first? You gonna go first?
Make him go first.
I'll go first this time.
Be careful.
I know. I love Laura, but she, you know, she do be showing up tardy to the shows. I know everybody be giving this stuff about it. But I'm gonna have to roll with Clef and the Carnival on this.
Okay.
Just because of the landscape of everything on the record itself. It still resonates with me today. I can play that. I still have that CD in my car right now.
Oh, wow.
So that plays all the time. Still in rotation.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to also go with Wyclef.
Sorry,
on this Carnival. I just love that album because of how diverse it is, like musically diverse. I love Miseducation, but it was just that. It was Miseducation, Lauryn Hill, I get it. But there was just so much, like there was different language and different instrumentation and like so many other elements of the Carnival, and so much that like I just appreciated Wyclef making that album so much because it was another one that I feel gave me a little permission to like push outside of the traditional norms of making hip hop music. So I related to it in that way, and I still feel that way.
No, I feel that. I think Two Minds sums it up. He's watching on YouTube tonight. Both of those.
This my little cousin. What up, Two Minds? Y'all mess with me. Still on the beat.
Oh, word! Shout out to Two Minds.
Shout out Two Minds.
And that kind of, I mean, I know we pick one or the other that resonates, but yeah, all these albums are super dope.
You already know.
Yeah. You thought you were done. You're not done yet because we have a bonus lightning round edition for the Chicago MCs in the building. All right, so this is, we talked about this album earlier. All right, so on one side we have no additives, no preservatives. Right there, all natural. Super dope album. But they followed it up with Second Nature, which was also super dope. Dope albums right here. Some Chicago staples right here. Dope albums. Which one resonates with you more in 2021?
Yeah, that one ain't. That's not fair, Till.
That's not fair. You're not fair at all.
Preserved just because it's okay. Keep playing in my head.
Yeah. I love that song.
It's okay. Yeah, that's the joint.
50. All there.
Yeah, I love 50 Years. Of course, it's a classic.
All right, hold on. Conference.
Okay, conference.
Yeah, have a conference. We'll be right back after word from our sponsors.
All right, we're gonna go with additives.
Okay.
No doubt.
Great album right there.
And that picture look like a jet. Oh, sorry.
There's something to be said about the foundational pieces that we build off of too. So
yes, absolutely.
Credit to the Senior Project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like that second album, in some regards, is just as dope. But there's just something about that first album.
That first album slap, bro.
Yeah,
it's like everybody's first album. My first one is just like
right.
Woo.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. That's why I give a lot of I'm always surprised and impressed by groups and artists that put out a better sophomore album than their debut album.
That's a
And
lot of
like,
work.
and like, especially like with someone like Common, not just a better album, like a phenomenally better album, you know. Like
when you forget about the other album.
Yeah, right.
Yes, exactly.
True, true. Well, listen, the last thing we do on the Boom Bap Chat, it's a hip hop show, so we give shout outs. So we'll go around the circle giving some shout outs, and we'll turn it over to you to do the last shout outs of the night. So cool. Profound, we'll start with you as always. Who you want to shout out tonight, my friend?
Man, my family, Urbanized Music, Cool Out, Chris and Amina. I want to shout y'all out. Thank y'all again for coming. I'm still emotional sitting with y'all, man. It's been fantastic. I know we got more work to do. I'm gonna shout out the kids as usual: Amir, Zakir, Rosalina, Daima, Ariel, and Elijah, who is apparently having a sleepover that I didn't know about. There's 3 other football players in here, and my Boom Bap brothers, Io, Till, Joe, Bo, and Michael Stowe. Y'all know how it goes, and that's what it is.
Right on. Thanks, Profound. Mas, who you shouting out tonight?
My family, Urbanized Music. I love y'all. Man, I'm so glad y'all are on the show tonight. It just bless my heart, and just to like hear y'all share y'all, you know, what y'all did. I didn't even know about the declaration, the hip hop. I was like, where was I at when I didn't hear this? Is my first time hearing about that. So just want to shout y'all out. Shout out my Boom Bap brothers. You know, Till, Profound, Bo, Stowe, and Joe November. Shout out home team, Chicago, Southside all day. Shout out my family in Detroit. Shout out Negro League, everybody's hip hop, and shout out Irony. You know what I'm saying? And that's it, man.
Cool.
That's all I got for tonight.
Thank you. I want to echo both of you. Shout out to you guys, of course, Profound, Mas, Big Stowe, Bo Brown, Joe November. People are still checking out our magazine, the Boom Bap Mag. So thank you all that are going there and downloading and reading that at boombapmag.com. Appreciate you all. Shout out to Abstract Mind State, who will be with us next Thursday night. Can't wait for that conversation. Shout out to the entire city of Chicago and the incredible music and everything else that they have, you know, contributed over the years. Just such a dope scene, and very excited to dig into more Chicago artists next month. Shout out to everyone that's supporting us on Patreon. There's, you know, people weekly signing up, throwing a few dollars in, supporting the vision that we have. So we really appreciate you all. And yeah, I guess last but not least, of course, Amina, Cool Out, Chris. Thank you both for being here. It's good to get to know you a little bit more. Obviously, yeah, man. Obviously, that hour and change went by super quick. This is probably one of the quickest shows I've ever been a part of, and so that's a good sign. So we'll definitely, you know, the door is open. If you want to come back on anything you're doing in the future, any just if you want to come and talk about a topic, you know, like I just want to get some thoughts out. We can have you back, have a special show. So you're always welcome. Thank you for what you do in Chicago and around the world. You all are doing some really dope stuff. You're inspiring. I appreciate you all, and just thanks for being here tonight. And with that, you all can take it away and get the final shout outs of the night.
Wow, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
So I thank you all for having us. This was amazing. You've been so gracious, and this was like an amazing interview. I loved everything about everything you guys did. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
And then I just want to shout out my family, my mom, my brothers, my daughter Aria, and just like everybody in the Chicago hip hop community who has been there and supported me, and my Columbia College family. I shout them out too.
Yes. And same. I want to thank you guys for having us, Pro, IO, till we coming to the Natty, baby. We're gonna hit you. we take it out, get ready for it. You can saw the record store. Matter of fact, I already know that you know this, so you can direct it. But yeah, big shout out to my family. You know what I'm saying? My lovely wife, all my friends, everybody that supports us, people who follow us. You know, people who comment, people who just show love, like we really appreciate that. Shout out to my cousin Two Minds. Shout out to my little brother El Dragon Ali, who does all the videos. My Spillane brother, Cruz Ocho, Highest Low, Sam I Am. Everybody is you know, you guys just don't understand. Like, we're all a part of this fabric that we call life, right?
Yeah.
Not just hip-hop. And you know, each thread wovens that and makes that big quilt and keeps us all warm. So I you know, we show love and respect to everybody. So
Right on.
appreciate it.
Yes,
Cool.
indeed. Yes,
Well,
indeed.
On that note,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
No
And on that
doubt.
note, we say
Peace.
peace. Peace. Peace.